Hello, everyone. I am so glad to see that we have so many people here today. That's so great. We're going to be talking about a new portal release. We have a lot of new tools and features that we're going to be showcasing today. You know that we like to kind of preview what's coming out. This is going to be coming out very, very soon. This is going to be a just portal release only. We're not talking about a client release. That's going to be further down the line. So, with no more further ado, I'm going to jump right into it. We do have one of our devs in the chat today. We will be answering any questions. So as we go through and we're showcasing, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to answer them in the chat or ask them in the chat, and we will answer them live and kind of just have a conversation. You know, we can like to keep this pretty loose. I hope you all saw like the really loud music that woke everybody up about our upcoming podcast, Betty and the Yeti. That will be myself and Owen. I will let you make your own decisions as who's Betty and who is Yeti. This is something that is sponsored by Senso, but it will be more of just a conversation of all things related to kind of what we do within this technology world, remote support, education. Oh my gosh, just really everything that we do outside of just work and then inside work as well. So we'll have some special guests on that. So please keep an eye out for when we release the first episode of that and the ones going forward. All right, so let's let's going let's go into this is our dev portal. Now we're in dev right now because like I said, these are portal releases. These will be upcoming. So this is something that's why we are not in a live portal right now. I think the most exciting one I really want to show everybody today is tabbed thumbnail view. Oh, we've been asked about this a lot. So here we go. I'm going to start clicking on these devices and you'll notice what's happening right there at the top. How cool is that? I know. I'm excited. You're excited. We're all excited together. So now you can have multiple full screen views open. You can click back and forth through them very easily if you are offering some support on multiple devices, or you're a teacher that's wanting to switch back and forth. This one is just an amazing addition to all the functionality that we already offer. I'm just very, very excited about that one. Okay, so in here, we also have modified how we use full screen. You'll notice that some of the icons have changed up here on the top. So from here, you can have the ability to change the scale from normal, what we already offer, all the way down to this new one, which is going to be remote resolution in tabbed, and also, wait for it, all the way out, full screen. Boom, look at that. It's massive. It's all over the place. Now you can really get in there and offer remote support for your users within this nice big full screen view. And when you're ready to exit, simply exit full screen. How awesome is that? Okay, the next one is another one, and I know I'm going to say this a lot today because these are some things that as a tech person, you know, as a former tech director, this is very exciting to have these little functionality that make your job so much easier. Something as simple as copy and paste, remote copy and paste. So Owen, if you will bring up Notepad for me so I can showcase what it is that I am on about. So this is my computer. I am looking at this remote device through my portal. I want to copy something and then push it out to this remote device. So here I have the hello from my computer. We're just showing this in the text form so you can see what this is going to look like. I'm going to go over here to this remote device, and right in here, now I can go ahead and paste that right in there. So I'm pasting from my remote device into this device here. This is the new option right here where you can sync your clipboard up, and then you can paste clipboard text and copy from remote clipboard. Now that sync clipboard, you don't have to have that on. If you have something on your remote device that you don't want to have overridden with whatever's going to be copied from the remote device, you can turn that off. You could still use the keystrokes, to copy everything and paste it on there without having to have that sync clipboard. But if you'd like to have that information on both places, on both devices at the same time, there is that option. How cool is that? I know that's going to help out tremendously, especially right now with so many staff and students distance learning, working from home. It's really difficult for the IT staff to be able to offer this sort of remote support, not with Senso. You already got it out there. Teachers are teaching classes. You have all these neat little tools that we're offering you that help you do your job better. All right, so we are going to now switch over to some of the new options that we have within profile settings. So here you see console preferences. With it here now, we've given you the ability to, before you could also do the default thumbnail quality, remote control quality can now be changed. That's something that's in there as well. But the new options, oops, I just exited right out of that. Sorry about that, is the default remote control state. So before, when you would go in to take full control of a device, you would have to choose no control, share control, full control. Now, if you want to go in and immediately have either share control or full control or no control, whatever you want, you can set that default control state from here. So once you click on a thumbnail, you go into it. If you just want to go right into full control, you want to take it over, now you can do that. And you'll also see that we've given you the option for that sync remote clipboard. You can have that on all the time. If you want to, sync clipboards from these different devices that you are working on, go ahead and have that set already. So those are the big changes there in profile settings. Now I'm going to switch over into
hang fire. We've got a question from MB in regards to the sync clipboard about whether it's on by default or off by default.
Okay, so we do have a question in the chat. Is the sync clipboard?
They can hear me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. Sometimes Owen.
I'm sorry. I'm talking in the back of your ear. I'm not normally here. Yeah.
Yes.
I've
so
decided
guys,
to join in on the conversation.
Oh, this is why our podcast is going to be so hilarious because of this sort of stuff. So yeah, Owen's there. He's usually like
Hello.
the voice in my head, and y'all will hear me. I will get quiet, and it's usually me listening to Owen. All right, let's go back over there to copy and paste in. Man, you gotta tell me. All right.
My bad.
It's all right. I think it's funny. So copy and paste. Let's go back into it. Let me go back over to my device. Now you got me all verklempt. From here, it is not on by default. It would, if you go in and turn it on, it will remain on from here. It will not remain on by default unless you go into those settings, which I believe it's on by default now from where we were looking at the profile before. But if you have that turned off, this would be turned off. You would have to come in here and choose that sync clipboard action right there. So yes, Owen, if you see any other questions, let me know. Okay, yep. Great questions. Keep them coming. Obviously, we're looking at them and we will answer them. Let's go into the admin center. So we have a lot of different options and add-ons, modifications, improvements. Just, oh man, our guys, our dev team, they're amazing. Our whole team is amazing. But we are releasing a lot of new features. So for this one, we are going to talk about Asset Manager. I know we have showcased this before, but there have been some massive improvements, some big changes within this version that's going to be released. So you'll see here the user interface is definitely modified and changed, especially when it comes into things like when we go directly into a device and look at the device details itself. You're going to see that now the interface for it is a lot cleaner, a little bit easier to get through to look at all this information. So now we can come down through here and we have the ability to pull all that information off of this device in a much more clean, organized manner. Outside of that, you'll see that the reports, again, we have all of these great reports that you can pull off of these devices, and you can be very specific. You don't have to look at your entire tenancy. You can be very like, I just really need to see SuperTech School. I want to see my bandwidth report. So you can be very pointed at the information that you're going to pull off. If you don't want to look at all your sites, if you're a large school district or you're maybe a MSP that's helping school districts, that you just want to look at your one individual site. This one is a new feature feature as well, alerts, where you can go in and set alerts on these devices. You see, I have some for used disk space. I have an event occurred, average CPU. I have these alerts now. They're going to be collected off of those devices and sent out to me. Again, I'm still within Senso SuperTech School. If I wanted to go up all the way, I could modify it to all my different sites very easily from this list and go into where I could see all the alerts that are occurring over here, and I can categorize them very easily with these icons to the right. Outside of that, you can, let's see, let's go into concern reports. Let's talk about concern reports. I'm gonna switch back and forth between the main portal and this portal so that you can see where it collects the data on both sides. So we have the ability within, for students to anonymously report when they feel they have an issue, they're being bullied, something they need to raise a concern about. So here is the Senso toolbar. We've already introduced the pin groups before, so that's not something that's new. This is the report concern functionality that is. So they can report the concern. They can report it to a specific user. When they pull down this list, whoever has been selected to be part of this, to be reported to, a safety officer, a counselor, principal, whomever, they can put a description in, and you see they can actually include a screenshot in there of what is going on. So I'm going to go ahead, and they have the option to send this anonymously, or they can put their information in as well. So I'm going to go ahead and send that over, and then you'll see the report has been sent, and now it's going to be logged over here. Oh, sorry. Do you want to bring up the... Yeah, there's also going to be an email attached to this as well. This is similar, the functionality that we have in logging, where we have those really great email alerts that come off of critical or high categories of things. They're going to hurt themselves, they're going to hurt somebody else. This is the ability for, those email alerts to go to whomever needs to see these email alerts. So see, this is where the concern reports are now being logged. You have an anonymous user that you can see the screenshot and the message that they have sent you. And now Owen is going to pull up the email that will actually be associated with that report as well. So this is what the email will look like. A new concern has been reported, and then the user chose to report this concern directly to Owen, and then you can review the report. So concern reports, very, very important tool to keep those students safe and to give them the ability to contact the people they need to talk to when they need help or they see something going on. Okay. This next one. Oh, I'm so excited about this one. Ooh, let's get over here. That one's fine. I guess that's an okay word. You know how concerned I am about going into violation reports because you never know what's going to be there.
Yeah, well, you got to show the power of it, though, haven't you? Really?
No. Still, it's. I'm gonna, maybe if I stay in super text, it won't be so bad. Okay, so you'll see here that you have the ability to go in and choose the specific site of information that you want to look for. And then once you go over here into violation logs, look at that. How cool is that? Now you have the ability to see just the information for a specific group. And also included in this, and I will go to all, but man, I am concerned. Let me, maybe Spink School won't have so many.
He's always naughty.
I'm always concerned about what's going to show up here, especially because we're on YouTube and I don't want it to get restricted because there's some very inappropriate image that's coming up. But the groups, this will allow you to limit what teachers can view or users can view. So let's say you have a teacher that you do want to allow to see this sort of the violations that are coming off of devices in this group. You can limit it to just that group now. They don't have to see the entire site. They can see just the group of computers they can see. Maybe you have a safety officer that's really, you have a technical high school, they really just need to see the group, those devices in that specific group. Now you can limit what they can see on the back end, not just by site, but also by very, more granular into those specific groups. So I know this is something that has been asked for from our customers, and we wanted to make sure that we get this out to you guys in a timely manner. So with that being said, now that I know that we can all hear Owen, which is very exciting, he is going to take us into the next couple of things that we are going to talk about.
Yeah, so this is probably this is the one I wanted to talk about the most. Some of you or some of you might not be aware, depending if you're on in the Senso community on Discord, that we are implementing Teams integration. Um, that work has now been completed, and we now have MS Teams integration. Um, the way this works is any teams that you have, we can pull them in to Senso itself, and we can then create your little groups on the left there based off of your teams. The way it works is if you're the owner of a team, you will see the members of that team. You won't see other owners. So there's a couple of owners on this group, for example, and I don't see them as group filters in here, but as members, because these two are members, I can see them. This will be really helpful for those that sync their MIS data, for example, into Teams to automate the Teams classroom, maybe using SDS or what's the other ones they use in the US? It's Clever, and what's the other one, Lisa?
Oh my gosh,
There's
there's
loads of
so
them, isn't
many
there? So
SIS.
there are.
Here in Texas, it's actually called Texas, but it's spelled really funky. And there are so many SIS systems, but
Yeah.
give me a second, and I
There's
will
one
think of
over
the one.
there. There's a
That's a
couple
very
over here.
popular one.
Yeah. There's a couple over here. Salamander, I think, is one of them that can do it. But if you sync your classrooms into Microsoft Teams, you'll be able to have it so that teachers can only see their Teams groups on the left here. So, I mean, that's a useful feature on itself, especially with distance learning, which obviously a lot of people are doing at the moment in the current climate. Um, this will allow the teachers to remotely access those classrooms, so and only see the classrooms that they need to see, instead of the current old method of setting up groups and giving access permissions to teachers. Teachers can do all of this themselves. And then also to add on to a few other things related to Teams is we noticed on social media teachers actually saying to Microsoft that they're struggling with distance learning, the fact that kids are unmuting themselves during a lesson. So a teacher can set the mute up on the kids, but the kids can then unmute themselves. So what we've built into Senso is the ability to actually mute the other party's microphone so that they can't then unmute it themselves. So if they were to unmute themselves in Teams, they would still be on mute because Senso could do it, which I think is a really cool feature. I mean, I think that was done within a couple of hours, wasn't it, Lisa?
Oh yeah, it
We
was.
spotted on social media, and then we thought, oh, we'll just quickly implement it, and it's been done. I actually think that one's on live now as well.
Yeah, it's similar to that set volume as
Yeah.
well, that was asked of us to be able to limit the volume as well. But that's something that just shows that we have the Discord community. We love having that, but we also keep in touch with all the other social media platforms because we like to see what teachers and IT professionals and everybody that's involved with using this type of remote support, what they're talking about and what their needs are, and that helps us to make the product for them and to add in tools, something as simple as that, as kids not being able to take over the classroom. Because once as a former educator, once you lose them, you lose them. You never get them back. It's if you have the clown in there that makes the comment, that's it. So you want to be able to have the ability to keep control of that class and do the lesson that you need to do. So Owen, I don't know if you noticed over there that we do have a question about the MIS and Teams. You might want to address that as well.
Yeah, so it's from Matt about he uses Salamander, and he wants to be able to see. I'm assuming he wants to see all of the groups. Um, I'm hoping that's correct. uh, it depends really. You would have to make yourself an owner on all of the teams currently. We do have some options on here as to which teams you actually sync, because you do have the ability as well to sync security groups into here, if you wanted to. or you can make it only sync provision teams. And like here, there are two different kind of teams. You've got what they define as teams groups, which is what we're currently using, and then obviously you've also then got teams classes, which Matt, I expect is what you would be using. But in terms of seeing all of the teams as the IT administrator, that would be down to you to do within Office 365's admin center itself. However, could we do something? I'd have to talk, but right now, no, you can't do. You can't see all of the teams right now. The other thing I actually missed out with this as well is we do also have the ability to create the teacher accounts on here. So if a teacher account doesn't exist within the portal, the Teams Sync will automatically create one for the teacher and give them a default role. So again, another good feature for you is save you some time as a customer. Save yourself as a customer not to what am I going to say, Lisa? I'm reading chat at the same time here.
Well, I mean, I understand
Yeah,
about having that really long, all the teams list of what's going to be listed in there, because I'm sure you're like us. We have lots and lots of different teams that is going to be syncing in there. So, this is the first integration of this. I know that you guys, if you've been with us for any amount of time, you know how quickly it is that we will release something, we'll listen to feedback, and then we make it better. It doesn't just sit there stagnant. It doesn't just, well, they released it, but then they never really modified it. That's not how Senso works. Is that we put it out there, we listen to feedback from our community, and then we modify and make the tool better in a very short amount of time. So as I know that you're reading the chat over there, and this is just to introduce it to everyone, to kind of give you an idea of where we're going with this, and then how it can be modified and changed. But that's why we need you. That's why we need you to be on these webinars. That's why we need you to be on Discord. This is the type of feedback that we are just desperate for from our community. Is we need to see this so that we can make it better. So this is why I love seeing people that are common recurrences of them being in these webinars with us, because they know that if they give us ideas, that we take those ideas and just run with them. So it's good to see. Okay, so let's go back into, is there anything else within here that you think we
yes.
missed? Okay.
Google Classroom working on
Yes. Oh,
Windows
yes.
devices. Yeah. So as Lisa was saying, that we do make improvements to everything that we do. Google Classroom being one of them. Now, most of you will know that who are Google schools, that Google Classroom in its current light only works with Chromebooks. We've now made Google Classroom so it not only works with Chromebooks, it will also work with Windows devices. So what I mean by working with Windows devices is if your AD users and their email address is the same as the one that they use within G Suite, then they will sync within their Google Classrooms.
Mm-hmm. So just manage devices. Manage devices. I'm gonna hammer that home.
Yeah.
Manage devices is not for personal devices. This is going to be if you want to switch back over. I don't know if we have any Google Classrooms over on this particular
No, we
account.
don't.
But with that, it will, if you've seen our Google Classroom sync, it looks very similar to the Teams groups that are there at the top. It says it has a G on there. So these would be AD managed device Windows devices that they have the same username that are they utilizing for that Chromebook, for that classroom, and then they will sync in, and so that teachers, educators, professionals, whomever can see it within the portal. So yes, I'm going to hammer that home again. These are managed devices on an AD network. This is not something that would be for a BYOD or personal devices of any kind like that. Okay. Well, did we miss anything in chat? I'm trying to look over as well.
We've got James Cracknell, Google Drive file option on the dev portal. I think he's pointing to this one here.
Mm-hmm. Working on that. That's something for asking users for files that they can go ahead and share those files back with the educators and teachers that are working with them. So wait for that. You'll see a video come out about that when we are ready to release that.
Yeah.
So this is why in the dev, it's like hide all of the other, like you want to like, please pay no attention behind the curtain. But you can see a lot of the things that we have coming, and we're being a lot quicker about getting these videos out, these little promotional videos. I know some of you probably have already seen the ones that we did for copy and paste, one we did for tabbed remote control, but this is a little bit better way for us to have a conversation with you guys about these releases. So that is it. Um, Always asked about the Mac client. Hey, Owen. We always get asked about the Mac client. It is on the roadmap. It is something that we are working to offer to our users, as well as all the other functionality and features that we have right now. So please join our community. We have, if you're not part of Discord and you'd like to be, the email address to get information from us, if you just go to superhero@senso.cloud, and you have any questions after this, you have comments, concerns, whatever, that is an email address that goes to all of us so that we can answer you back on that. Join our Discord community. It's a great place for Senso users to, have this conversation, but amongst, with them, amongst themselves. They offer tips and tricks. I've been using this. This is how I use it in my school. This is how I use it at my company. And that's really great for you guys. Of course, I would love,
Lisa,
what?
we've missed. James has just literally highlighted probably my other favourite feature, and I'm not sure
Oh
how
no, what
we.
did I miss?
No, I think yeah, we've missed this one. Hang on, let's bring the scene back over.
Do you
You can
want to
see
go
it.
back
You can
into
see it.
the my
I'm
demo lab?
I'm highlighting it now for you.
Oh my gosh, holy cramoly. What, how did, oh,
I
I
don't know how we missed that one.
apologize.
Yeah.
I apologize so much. If you would like to go ahead and click on that, look at that, guys. It is to have those violation alerts right there in list view so that you can see them automatically. So, Owen, I don't know, my thing is not clicking. If you want to click on and open it up for me,
Yep.
um, that you have the ability to right there see the violation, and get the information off of that. So if there were multiple violations within this device, we would see a list. There would be a list of them as we go down. So yes, and that will take you right into the violation itself, and you can mark it as action, and you get all the info off of it, rather than going in. I mean, would be also, if this was, again, it fell in that critical or high category, you're still going to get that email alert, but all the other violations, you would go into the logging portal so that you can see it. Now, when violations happen, boom, you get that nice little bell icon right there next to the device so that you can see it automatically. Oh, I hate that we missed that. That makes me, oh,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Well, at least we got there. We got there.
We
Um,
have had a question as well about the
mhm.
support ticket help desk, support desk, whatever you want to call it, the ticketing system. Um, have you seen anything of it?
I think for that, for the support desk, we will do a whole separate. We'll
Yeah,
do
I
a
was
separate. Yeah.
yeah, we'll do a separate video. Obviously, if you've seen one of our previous videos that Chris Spink did, he actually touched on the sport desk and showed a few screenshots. I'll be honest with you, those screenshots are now probably redundant because it's now been completely revamped, and it's even more better.
Oh my
It
gosh.
is. It is honestly.
More better.
Yeah. I wish we could show you now, but we're gonna save it for a later video because it's gonna need its own video because it's actually quite a big product. So we'll be saving it for its own video. Give us maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks for that to come up, and it'll be a live video as always, as we like to do everything live. So keep your eyes open from that, and as well, if you're in Discord as well, we'll obviously also fire some teasers into there as soon as we can.
Right. And I want to give a shout out to Ted. I just saw him in there. What up, Ted? Anytime I see you come in there, I'm always going to say hi.
Oh, I love Ted.
I know. Yes. So that's why I think on that, oh my gosh, there'll probably be, we'll have our marketing video with the animations that we like to do. And then we'll have something like this where it's us talking about it. And definitely this will be, a whole video just on that will be great. And so, I think it's a good thing that we kind of, Owen, that we didn't see that. We came back just to show the immense amount of things that we're working on right
Yeah.
now. Our dev team, while other companies are kind of slowing down right now, man, we're ramping it up. This is a great time. This is an excellent time for us to show how awesome our product is and how it can help in these sort of remote learning, distance learning, work from home, telecommuting. Everybody's got a different, buzzword for what it is, that people are doing right now. And I just briefly, I want to touch on this from the tech aspect, and I'm sure Owen will agree with me. I don't ever like to speak for you, but the ease of installation of how it is so easy for us to get this out to these remote computers. It's one thing to have these devices right there in your, at your school, at your company, in your network. You're down the hall, you're right there. It's a whole different world now where these are all over the place. These remote computers are everywhere. So if we're back into the portal, oh, and if you'll show back into the demo lab, we have our support office here in Texas. We have our other office in Nottingham. These devices that I'm demoing on, these devices that we're looking at, they're here in Texas. They're all over the place. They're over there in the Nottingham office, but we still have the ability to control them from here. And then installation on them is so easy. It doesn't take this like, oh, you have to set this up and then you have to have this server here and then you have to have this, gateway set up and anything like that. It's just so easy to, especially on Chromebooks, to push out that extension through Google Admin Console and to have the MSI that goes out to your users. I think that's something that as people are becoming new on with us, they just love that capability of it. So I'm sorry I kind of got off on a tangent, there for that, but it's something that has come up over and over with my current customers and then new customers that are now coming on board with us to help. They cannot believe how easy it is to get it out to their users. They're like, this is exactly what we needed right now. So sorry for that. I'm off my soapbox, my sidebar now, but it's just something I had in my notes I wanted to bring up today and talk to you guys about because it's something that just keeps coming up with everybody right now. All right. So that is all I have. I hate to think that we missed anything. Owen, will you open up messages for me there at the top? Please keep an eye out for
We want to do the
messages from
live one.
the one from us, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
we're in depth. Okay,
Yeah.
so you'll see it in your live portal. You'll have that little message. You'll see the little icon above it to let you know that we have sent you information. Please click on that. Look at we have lots of information coming out on LinkedIn. Customers letting us know how it's working for them. Things like this live webinar. Oh, the podcast. Owen and I are very excited about this podcast. This is going to be a very nice, just comfortable conversation with us. You can kind of see we're a little bonkers, so I think that's going to be a fun conversation once we get into that. So look out for when we post that. And with the podcast, there will also be a video associated with it so that you can hang out with Betty and the Yeti.
Yes, and also with regards to the podcast as well, for customers and who are listening, we are interested in talking to you because the podcast isn't just about Senso. It's a conversation about everything in the market and obviously talking about things about like what's currently going on with distance learning and stuff. So if there's any customers out there that do want to come on to the podcast with us, so we can, it's just to have a chat, have a beer,
Mhm.
basically. And yeah, if you want to come on with us, have a chat and find out what you're doing differently, we'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a conversation just about from every viewpoint that we can think of from we're going to go over this in it, but just a brief preview. It's because Owen and I come out of the educational world. Now we're on the support side of it. We're users of many types of software in this, what we do outside of Senso. So we wanted this to be a more just a conversation with those of us in this industry, from educators to professionals to technicians, maybe even students, to see how it's different for students at home with distance learning and remote learning, and really just have an open and honest, good, bad, and ugly, everything involved about what we do in this industry. So that's really what the podcast is going to be about. All right, so that is it. Golly, thank you everybody for joining us today. It's so nice to see our regulars in there. And be like Ted, if you come in, we'll give you a shout out. Yep. And again, so just the, at the end, I've got to do the whole, all of our social media. Make sure you follow us. You like and subscribe here. Make sure you follow us. We have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Join our Discord community. At the end, at the end title, hopefully we have our email address, which is for this superhero at senso.cloud.
Unfortunately, I'm missing the end title. My bad.
Just put it into the chat just so people
Yeah,
have the email address. If you think of a question after the fact, or you want to ask, talk about anything, or be a guest on our podcast show. And I hope that everyone is staying safe out there. I know that this is something that I say in most of my phone calls when I get off. I'm like, go wash your hands. Go wash your hands. And we will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.
bye bye.